Marama Fox.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and along with the other parties who have acknowledged the work of the previous Auditor-General Lynn Provost, we too would like to offer our thanks to her and her team. Indeed, the Office of the Auditor-General have been professional in the recent days, given that they've had no office to operate out of but still have performed their duties here assisting the members of various select committees. But we want to welcome the appointment of Martin Thomas Harold Matthews as a new Controller and Auditor-General, and we note his extensive public service, as has been mentioned. But there's an even more interesting story to be told about Mr Matthews and his connection to the Māori Party. That's right, specifically one of the founders of our party. Yes, the former Māori Party co-leader, Sir Dr Peter Sharples, might not have known it then when he organised a youth conference some 30 years ago, but it was there that Mr Matthews first set his eyes on Heather, the woman who would eventually become his wife. 33 years later, they have 3 children, and we call that whakapapa in action. And so we'd like to welcome the new Auditor-General and his family to this most auspicious role. We also note that Mr Matthews has links to the Hawke's Bay, having grown up in Napier, and ties to Te Waipounamu through his parents and wife who are from there, and so we extend to them our aroha for their friends and relatives who may have been affected by Sunday's earthquake. Mr Matthews has a huge job ahead of him as our country's top public spending watchdog, keeping a close eye on more than 4,000 groups which administer taxpayer and ratepayer dollars, and we encourage him to widen the scope of how his office audits taxpayer-funded entities to ensure they are including 2 further points in their work. 1, whether those groups are giving effect to the principles of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and whether they are recruiting a diversity of staff that reflect our community. The Māori Party views all government departments and local government entities as agents of the Crown, and therefore they have an obligation to give effect to the principles of Te Tiriti, and not just in those organisations that have a Māori name or specific role to play for Māori, but across all public sector services which Māori are high users of. We cannot escape that Te Tiriti o Waitangi is our founding document. Just some of Te Tiriti principles we encourage the new Auditor-General to look at is whether those Crown agents are working in partnership and good faith with Māori, living up to their duty to actively protect Māori interests, allowing Māori to retain a rangatiratanga over their resources and taonga, and properly consulting with Māori. The Māori Party believes that if the Office of the Auditor-General gives more credence to Te Tiriti, we will be able to assess whether the spend is fit for service to all communities as well as Māori. For years, the party has been calling for all legislation to be measured against Te Tiriti as value add to the legislative framework, and we believe there is space to be made for our country's founding document in the work of the Office of the Auditor-General. We also think that the Office of the Auditor-General should be asking the groups it audits how many staff they have of diverse ethnicities that better reflect their community. Our party believes that there is an unconscious bias across our public sector. This is the palatable term. The other term is institutional racism. We know that the only way to tackle that is by ensuring the principles of Te Tiriti are upheld.
The question